I don't quit. I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back.
You have to have no fear. You have to have no fear. You have to believe in who you are and what you do, and just go and get it.
When you're on your way up, everyone roots for you because you remind them of their dreams. When you're at the top, everyone tears you down because you remind them that they gave up on them. And you have one, which is, for anyone who needs a reminder, no one is going to hate on you for doing worse than them.
To work hard, to sacrifice yourself. You have to go through hell sometime, but you have to see the light at the end of it, to keep your dream in mind is going to give you the motivation to go through the tough time. It's nothing easy to go work is nothing you can accomplish without hard work.
I'm okay being the guy who says, cure mental health. I'm okay with it.
How far can I go? I'm 38 this year. How long can I push my own limits? And I don't feel like I do have limits. And I feel like the limits are normally constructs in our mind.
There are more people that I have met in my life who are dissatisfied by their live it up 20s than dissatisfied by their work it up 20s.
There's human beings that have different temperament and different minds and different mentality and a ruthless competitive drive that's almost terrifying to the ordinary person.
The first time that I went to go and see Peterson, someone asked him a question and they said, the depth of my consciousness causes me to suffer. Is it a blessing or a curse to feel everything so deeply? He thought for a little bit and he said, take more of the thing that poisons you until you turn it into a tonic that girdles the world around you. The only way out is through.
You know what? I've just accepted. I'm only going to be happy when I'm grinding for something.
That's right.
I'm only going to be happy when I'm growing. I don't want to talk about stuff I used to do. I want to do something great with my life. I don't know that I can get to the mental level you have, but I think everybody here needs to know something. If you just think you're going to do something temporarily once, man, you're going to be unhappy when it's over.
What you need is the one thing I talk about in my book, which is straight up, brutal work ethic. You have to be willing to outwork everybody in the world.
This is why most people never get anywhere. Most people are incapable of picking a direction and just going. They observe the possibilities. They get paralyzed by all the possibilities. They refuse to move forward on all the possibilities, and then time passes them by.
So this guy just passed me. He said, Goggins, just be average today. Some of you just don't understand. Some of you been average for so damn long, you don't know what it is to do hard work. But there's a lot of you out there who want to be much more than average, but just don't know how to do it every single day, the grind. You need to find someone to oil those ears up. So check it out. This is a mindset. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But there's a out there who wants what you have, who wants the position you are, who wants the job you have, who wants the wife that you have, or the husband. There's someone out there hungry and wants everything you have. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But if it is, it's gonna be your ass. So make that a motivation for you. Stay hard.
So it's very important that you make a decision and you go down that path. You commit to that path with the mentality of having zero options. I don't have a choice but to see this through, okay? If I don't see this through, I'm gonna be digging ditches. That's what I tell myself.
You might think that by worrying and obsessing and ruminating and thought looping and fearing and gripping your way through this problem, that it reduces down the likelihood of it happening somehow, that it brings to bear more control, that it almost like impacts reality in some sort of a way. It makes no difference. Again, what are we focused on? We're focused on outcomes, not on inputs. And the people that have that bias for action, they end up just finding out whether or not this thing is going to work way quicker.
The ultimate lesson here is this. Everybody's on their own path. And I don't want to judge someone for wanting to be free and easy. I just want you to understand that there's a cost to that. And the cost that you're going to have to that isn't going to come until later. Most people need to shut the fuck up and focus on that version of themselves they want to become and actually be willing to become it. And that's what's ultimately going to create the fulfillment that you're looking for. It's not going to be your cold plunge. It's not going to be your morning routine. It's going to be the work that you fucking do to become that version of yourself that is the exact version that you know you're supposed to become, and then being proud of it. That's what's going to create the fulfillment that you're searching for.
Faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the warpath. And that starts with one of the fundamental laws of combat leadership: prioritize and execute. What's the biggest problem? Well, what's causing the most stress? Family? Okay, sit them down. Explain where you are at. Be blunt, be upfront, and then give them the simple plan of how you're gonna get things back on track.
Get rich or die trying.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to get rich or I'm going to die in the process. And then if I die in the process, I was doing what I wanted to do.
When it comes to your success and your productivity, the reason you aren't getting shit done is not because you lack the time. It's not because you lack the talent. It's not because you lack the knowledge or the experience. The reality is, guys, it's always a mindset issue. You are believing the lies that keep you from being productive, okay? And there's a lot of lies. But let me tell you the big three, okay? Lie number one: I don't have the resources to get this done. What the do you mean? Nobody has the resources to get anything great done. This is the mindset of the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people
as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so up, it was so wrong, it was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare, a whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life.
So know what your mission is. Know what your intent as the commander of your life. Know what your intent is, and then fight with everything you've got to win.
I found out on my own pretty much, is that through discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do, and that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop mental, like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind, because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. And that's how I started coming up. I just started being very uncomfortable. And now it's like just a way of life.
Don't aim for mediocre. 99% of people in the world are convinced that they're incapable of achieving great things, so they aim for the mediocre. The level of competition is thus fiercest for realistic goals, paradoxically making them the most time and energy consuming. If you are insecure, guess what? The rest of the world is too. Do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think.
It's purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, right, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, right, how far can you keep going? There's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all the what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
5 years ago, I think, I'm astounded by how many people want to be spectacular in life, but also want to be normal. By being normal, you are, by definition, aiming for average. Normal people get normal results. exceptional people get exceptional results. You literally can't do what everyone else does and expect to not get what everyone else has got. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results. World really only knows the actions that you take. It doesn't know about the internal state until that then shows up in the way that you actually perform. So, yeah, some things to keep in mind. Number one, don't grip life so tightly. Being too serious creates a kind of brittle fragility, which a playful attitude insulates you against. Your goal is dynamic persistence over the long term. And taking things seriously gives you a huge advantage in bursts, but chronic seriousness makes you rigid and at risk of blow up.
The top. It ain't f***ing lonely at the top, bro. It's lonely in the middle. All right? And here's the thing. When you first start out with trying to achieve something that's not the norm of what everybody else is trying to achieve, they think you're weird. They think there's something wrong with you. Okay? And then you set out actually doing the work. And you set out getting some results. What happens is Steve and Tony and Mary Jane from your whole neighborhood, they look at you and they say, oh, this dude's weird. What's wrong with him? He's too good for us now. You're f***ing right, I'm too good for you. Because I'm not going to sit around and waste my fucking life. Okay? And so as you progress out of that friend zone, which by the way, those people are never your friends. They're just people you hung out with. All right? You get into this lonely place. And that lonely place is called no man's land. And that's the time that you spend between what you thought were your friends and then finding a new group of people who are aligned with the actions that you're taking and the goals that you have.
Want to be exceptional, you're going to be different from everyone else. That's what makes you exceptional. You can't fit in and also be exceptional. Both have discomfort. When you fit in, you have internal conflict because you're not being 100% you. When you're exceptional, you have external conflict because everyone sees you as different. Pick one. When your friends start to say, you've changed, remember it's because they don't know how to say, you've grown.
Mistakes that I've made, they've taught me. You know, you learn. Like, that's why failure is so important. Like failing and f***ing up and making mistakes, it's very important. That's how you learn. That's the bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better. Like especially failing at something where you half-assed it and you just feel like a loser. Like that just teaches you.
You were there. You know this. There was no one there to pick up the rucksack, to pick up the boat, to pick up the log, to go in there. It was you. It was you. There was no pat on the back at 300, at 275, at 250, at 220. No, that was you. There was no team. It was you. There was no weight loss program or mom and dad waking you up saying you can do it, you can be better, trying to build belief. You built belief when you had nothing. Rock bottom. You did that. So as times get hard for me, the truth comes out. And my truth is powerful as it's real. It's tangible.
Growth mindset is, I believe, if it's sort of a neuroscience lens on growth mindset, would be that the agitation and stress that you feel at the beginning of something and when you're trying to lean into it and you can't focus is just a recognized gate. You have to pass through that gate to get to the focus component. And then if you can reward the effort process, you really start to feel joy and low levels of excitement in the effort process. That's that buffering of adrenaline. That's that feeling like, yes, I've got a lot of adrenaline in my system, but I'm on the right path. It feels good to walk up this hill.
I firmly believe when you give everything you got to something, right? I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears, everything you got to something, right? The peace in that is not the result or the reward. The peace is the fact that I gave everything I had to it because this is who I am.
Yeah. You have no idea how great you really are because you are using such minimal of what you have.
The limitations exist only in our minds, and if you start using imagination, then your possibilities become limitless. So
why would you not go for it? Why would you not take a chance?
We're all going through a battle in our mind. A warrior is not a person that carries a gun. The biggest war you're ever going through is right between your own ears. It's in your mind. We're all going through a war in our mind, and we have to callous our mind to fight that war and to win that war.
Then there are days when you just feel broken Your back hurts, your knee hurts, had that a lot. Maybe you're a little sick or scared, but you still find a way to win. And those are the victories we can be most proud of. Because they prove that you can win not just when you're at your best, but especially when you aren't.
As John Wayne said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyhow, all right? So there comes a point where you just have to have courage and you have to go.
I will do what is required. And this work needs doing. And there's just no way around it. And it's just looking at the face of the work and it's like smiling back at me like, no one else is going to do it.
If your definition of success is win or lose, giving everything you've got and growing or learning along the way, then you're setting yourself up for success. I really think the biggest cheat code in life is just going after it and not being concerned of whether or not you fail at one specific task. Instead, understanding the big picture, what your long-term goal is, and knowing if you keep driving forward and never quit, in the end, you will succeed.
And then there's something called passion, which once you have a passion for something, you no longer ask questions of motivation. Like people ask me, like, what motivates you to go to the gym? I'm like, I'm addicted to going to the gym. It's like asking a crackhead, like, what's motivating you to do that? Light up that rocket. What? That's what I want to do, right?
There's no losing, only learning. There's no failure, only opportunities. And there's no problems, only solutions. So to me, what failure is the mother of all success. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan getting cut from his 9th grade basketball team, he wouldn't have became Michael Jordan.
Those of us out there who don't fit in because we don't want to get in. We don't want to be in. The race is not about the destination because there is no destination in mind. The race is about the running and what we see while we are running. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm playing to win, and to win, I will destroy you. I will do everything to win, and I need to win because when I win is my proof that I am alive.
The number one ingredient is hunger. If somebody's got a hunger that doesn't go away, not a hunger to lose some weight for the summer, I'm talking about hunger to be more, to do more, to create more, to become something, to give something that matters. That kind of hunger that doesn't go away. That's what you see in I'm sure you know Richard Branson. He's a good friend, you know. Richard is 74 years old and he has the same hunger as he did when he was 16 starting Virgin in a crypt. You know what I mean? That's there. Anybody who has that component that's alive in them is going to succeed. And hunger, though, usually comes from not having things go so well.
Two, you got to be willing to leave everything you have. If you're not willing to walk away, like you did from Toronto, you got to walk away from everything you have. The friends, this started for me when I was 25. It goes back to what I said earlier in the story with my drug addiction. I had to leave my friends, the girlfriend, everything that was comfortable, the bars, the clubs, the house I lived in, everything, bro. I had to walk away from it all. I have never had success in my life, not a next level success, without leaving something I love.
I like to be in control, and especially if my name is involved or me as a person is involved. I do things because I believe in things. I believe I can make a difference or make noise. And some things you do from your heart, some things you do from the brain, and that's the challenge. And I'm not afraid to take a challenge that is not easy, that is very difficult, but that's who I am as a person.
Play hard, man. That's the values we give them. Play hard, and hey, man, be yourself. You know, in this world when everybody wants you to be, you know, to conform to this, conform to that, man, my whole thing is be yourself, man. You know, everybody's an individual. We all got different fingerprints, different DNA. Yo, man, we should just show how different we are, man. Just be yourself.
This way to take control of your life is to stop controlling everyone around you. You have no idea how much time and energy and attention you are wasting trying to control other people. You have no idea how much energy you are burning through thinking about, worrying about, obsessing about what other people are doing, what they're not doing, what they're feeling, all of which you have zero control of.
I think that personal ambition is worth fighting for. It really is something that if you don't fight for it, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life. And if you regret it, you can be an unhappy person. If you're an unhappy person, it's going to affect your family. So you can see the chain of command all the way down, that it can be pretty devastating. The common answer is we fight for a family. But fighting for family starts with you. So you got to fight for peace of mind. That's what I think you have to go for. You know, what makes you happy enough in your life that you want to make other people happy?
We allow things to happen that we should not accept. We should not accept. We allow ourselves to get out of shape. You see people like that? You didn't get out of shape overnight. You accepted it day after day after day after day. We let ourselves get into bad financial situations. We accept it. Little bit at a time. I'll just put this on credit. I'll just get another credit card. That's what we do. We accept doing a job or living a life that we really don't want to live. And what I'm saying is do not accept that.
Real man is born to serve. And serve means provide for those that are in your sphere of you to provide for. It means to protect. It means to encourage. It means to teach and to train. And sometimes it means to step back and let them hit the wall. Sometimes the best service you can do for somebody is to, when it's all done, walk up and look down and say, did that hurt? You know, that's what they needed.
Took that chance when I was 21, when I was dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous. And most people want to take the safe path. The safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation almost every time. It's hell. It's hell. You're selling insurance or some other shit that you care.
Is it good to have no emotions whatsoever? No, that's called a sociopath, right? Is that good? No. Is it good, like I was talking about earlier, to let your emotions run your life and make your decisions based on your emotions? No, that's not good either. What do we want to be as a human, as a man? I want to be balanced. Want to be balanced. You don't want to be extreme in any direction.
Not everything deserves a response. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Stop talking. Not every conversation is one that you need to participate in. Stop talking and start practicing being quiet and not having an opinion. Oftentimes, protecting your peace and not getting involved and just listen, don't talk, is going to make you happy.
Growth mindset is, I believe, if it's sort of a neuroscience lens on growth mindset, would be that the agitation and stress that you feel at the beginning of something and when you're trying to lean into it and you can't focus is just a recognized gate. You have to pass through that gate to get to the focus component. And then if you can reward the effort process, you really start to feel joy and low levels of excitement in the effort process. That's that buffering of adrenaline. That's that feeling like, yes, I've got a lot of adrenaline in my system, but I'm on the right path. It feels good to walk up this hill.
Take ownership of your world. Take ownership of your life. There's number one. Number two, the second book, Dichotomy of Leadership. Be balanced. Be balanced. Don't be extreme. Extreme, look, do you have to sometimes get out there in the fringes a little bit? Occasionally, you probably had some business situations where you're like, all right, I got to let go half of my staff right now. That's an extreme move, but that's how we're going to start. Do you have to do that sometimes? Yes, you do. But don't let that be where you live. Live in the center, live in a stable area, and then finally discipline equals freedom.
You have a plan, and you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. And whether it is you're trying to be an author and if you're gonna try to be an author and you're working 8 hours a day plus commuting plus family responsibilities or whatever else you have, whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline.
So many emotions going through your mind, through your body. Undoubtedly, there is a huge pressure and expectations and the importance of that moment. And you're aware of that. You know, you can't put it aside and say, okay, I'm going to ignore it. No, it becomes a part of you. It consumes you. Now it's on you if you are able to overcome that obstacle, to face that I would say big sensation of mix of doubts, fears, excitements, pressure or so forth. And if you are able to become one with it.
You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. So nothing is acceptable but your best. So we need to be, everything is determined by what you do and you trying to be your best so that you can build on positive performance so that, and that's the only thing, there should be nothing else.
Figure out where your power base is and to work on the alignment of your personality, your gifts that you have to give with the real reason why you're here. That's the number one thing you have to do, is to work on yourself and to fill yourself up and keep your cup full. Keep yourself full. Now, I used to be afraid of that.
If I'm broken, then I just found my limitations. And until I know what my limitations are, how can I push them? How can I get better? But once I see it, once I feel it, once I see where I was broken, then I can attack that weakness. I can fill in that gap. I can reinforce that breach.
There's no passion, no motivation. There's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion, no discipline, no motivation. All these words, I hate that so many people use these words now because it's watered. It's someone sitting in a room by themselves and they figure themselves out and say, God, this is gonna suck. Where's passion when you're 300 pounds? Where's the motivation when you can't read and write? Where is it? So how did this happen? I just did.
Learn what matters to you and what's important and kind of your place in the world through repeatedly hitting your head against different challenges. And I think that's the journey, right? That's the entrepreneurial journey. It's also, I think, part of the beauty of building things and
really developing who you are, right? You don't have to be afraid of yourself. So I would say that the inner monologue that I have with myself now is totally different than when I was a kid, but it's similar in terms of the approach and just being open-minded and being a man that's not afraid to stand on what you believe in and speak on what you believe in. So I'd say that.
So I call it going to a dark place. You have to get the noise out, quiet your mind down, get all the static out before you can even have a real conversation with yourself. And that self-talk, a lot of times it's very negative because of all the stuff we see on TV, all the stuff we see on social media. You have to create a positive dialogue.
All they can do is learn and come back bigger, better, stronger, because all it's gonna do is lead you in the right direction. See, if you're always winning, then you don't really understand what it is to win. You gotta take those losses, you gotta take those hits. There's gotta be the valleys, the peaks, the ups, the downs. In order for you to, when it does happen, you go, wow, qué rico. This is what it's all about. And not only that, it's never about making it, guys. It's always about maintaining it.
People see masculinity as something negative, whereas it's actually something very, very positive. It's this kind of energy that has built cities, that has invented things, that has created civilization. Not that women did not have a huge role in that as well, but there's something extremely positive about masculine energy. It's energy that's ambitious, that wants to make things. So you're somebody that wants to make and do and create things, not just talk and talk and talk and talk.
Realizing
your legacy and the place you're leaving for the people who are coming after you, including you. That is what matters. The question I try to ask myself is, what will the me of 10 years from now thank me for doing today? Something difficult, something unrewarding. But 10 years from now, I'll be really glad that I showed up and did that. And the fact that some old guy is here telling it to you isn't going to change anything. I can't teach you anything, but maybe you'll decide to learn it yourself.
The rule is you can go after whatever you want. You just cannot deny anyone else to go after whatever they want. Now, I had to sacrifice choice. I didn't get to choose which bagel I got. I got whatever I pulled out, but I didn't have to wait in line. So the point is you don't have to wait in line. You don't have to do it the way everybody else has done it. You can do it your way. You can break the rules. You just can't get in the way of somebody else getting what they want. That's rule number one.
And if you were not informed about it at all, and it's kind of my attitude about everything now. You know, when somebody tells me about something and I've never heard of it before, or if I've heard of it, don't understand how it works at all, my first thought is always, how hard can it be? And it's probably just a textbook away. So you're probably one archive paper away from figuring this out.
I find somebody who loves to do that. I find somebody who has a strength where I have a weakness, and I partner with them. All you're trying to do is get to the goal. No one gets there by themselves. Everybody needs help. Now, when you know what you got going for you, be confident, not cocky. Managing your strengths, knowing what they are, and don't let nobody talk you out of it. And that gets you fight ready. You get fight ready like that.
All right, know who you are. Know if you're meant to walk shoulder to shoulder and line to line with a group of other men. And if you are, great, wonderful, do it, be the best at it. But if you're not, don't search for a destination. The trip is the destination. The journey is the goal.
I also tell them that the greatest risk they take is not taking one, which, by the way, Miss Martinez taught me that. And I use it to this day. Anytime I feel that, I feel nervous, like I feel right now, I take the risk. And for all the students, for all the teachers, and for all the educators here, we have to take risk. If we don't take that risk, I go back to it. It's the biggest risk that we...
Secret to success, I would say, first of all, is passion and consistency. You have to love what you do. You have to get up every day. And I get here every day at 9:30 in the morning. When we sold in 2016, a lot of people in the company made a lot of money. And they all took off and they retired, right? Other than the Fertitas, I made the most money. I'm still here.
We wonder why we have no growth. We wonder why when the smallest thing in our life gets difficult, we wonder why we cower and we run away. Because we are kind of living our whole life is set up that way. Our whole life is set up in the path of least resistance. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to feel discomfort. So the whole time we're living our lives in a very comfortable area. There's no growth in that.
Never judge toughness by its cover. Pain tolerance is one of the biggest factors of someone who can handle pressure. Because the whole idea of pressure is there's pain. That pain could be embarrassment. That pain could be, I don't know if I can handle this. That pain could be a lot of different things. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the difference between a hero and an average person is that the hero goes 5 minutes longer, meaning the hero can handle the pain 5 minutes longer than the other person.
You can take with you is study. A lot of athletics is not just a physical thing. I try to study my competition. I try to study nutrition. I try to study other great athletes, guys who've done great things in the past, and try to model, myself after them. So I'm big on the mental game when it comes to being an athlete, sports psychology and things like that. So really focusing on the mind, not only the body, is important.
No, bottom line, they call it dreaming because you're sleeping while this happens.
live my dream every day. I wake up, I go out there, I work hard for it. Patience, passion, perseverance equals success. Everybody, you call it a dream. No. You can make it reality. So I always say, I dream and they stay dormant. They stay sleeping. So for everybody out there, it's a dream, but wake the fuck up and get out there and get it.
There it is.
And then a lot of people, they just think this is easy.
If the best things happen to you before you're ready for it, it will not be a blessing in your experience. It'll become a great difficulty. You will not be able to handle it. Whether it is material well-being or spiritual well-being or great experiences or whatever, unless you evolve yourself into a certain stage, it will anyway happen. Your business on the spiritual path is just to keep yourself receptive.
The thing of it is, though, you are the only one responsible for the pull. What you have to be careful of is as you pull this rope up the hill, you have to make sure that everybody that's on the wagon is doing something to get the wagon up the hill. Everybody's foot got to be hanging off that wagon, pushing. Somebody got to get off the wagon and move rocks from under the wheel. It's an old wagon you pulling. But what happens along the way, and you got to be careful, there are people who will get on your wagon and have no value.
So if I'm going to get good at something, I'm going to put my mind, my body, my heart and soul behind whatever it is I'm going to do. And I do that because I like it. I like to learn, I like to experience, I like to grow. And I think you can get really good at doing it one way. And the hard work, all the stuff we talked about, get really good at doing it and become successful and then have just about everything you want. But you may not truly have happiness. You just may have a lot of things and you got really good at doing it, right?
It's truly my passion in life. It's like the sphere. We're doing the sphere. Why? Why would I do the sphere? It's going to cost me a bunch of money. It's really challenging. Most people think it can't be pulled off, and you're looking at weird angles, different things going on inside other than the fight and all this other stuff. But yeah, I'm doing it because it's awesome and it's challenging and it's hard. And I think that if anybody can do it right, it's us. So why not take that challenge?
There's a really important relationship between our time and discipline, because we could choose to do everything in a world where time was infinite. But it is the scarcity of time, the limited amount of time we have, which I talk about in chapter 19 of my first book, when I'm talking about the roulette pieces and the chips we wake up with every day. We wake up with 16 chips left out of the 24. We've placed 8 of them on sleep. So through that framework, it's important to allocate your time with a certain intentionality, or you might regret the life you've lived. So that's why discipline matters.
The biggest life lesson that I've learned is the power of the mind, and just how important it is to look at yourself at a high regard and to believe in yourself. I think in order to paint a bright future for yourself, you have to be able to see it in your mind. You have to believe in it, and the more you believe in it, the more your world will start to change, and the more you'll just start to see your beliefs come to pass. So, answer your question, just self-belief.
Struggle to believe I'm worthy of moments of joy and peace without first putting myself through a brutal schedule, monitoring my productivity levels down to the minute. Perhaps some people apply this earn your cookie mindset in ways that lead to healthy achievements. Not me. Mine is a mutation whereby joy and self-compassion are regularly outlawed by an internal tyrant who decides when I've been flogged enough for one day. Just when I'm about to collapse, a voice inside says, okay, give him half an hour of peace before bed, but make sure he knows we'll start again, bright and early in the morning.
Primary component of emotional resiliency is self-control. Self-control has both a mental and emotional component. They're really so closely tied, right? They're like two sides of the same coin. Because you can have emotional responses that trigger unhealthy thought patterns, and you can have unhealthy thought patterns that trigger the emotional response. It's very rare to have a pure thought that doesn't have an emotion tied to it. And it's also very rare to have an emotion that's powerful without thinking about it. Am I right? It's like they kind of need, one leads to the other. And so that's like that saying we have, where the mind leads, the body follows. It's equally true that where the body leads, the mind follows.
Learned that I think that not only to be an entrepreneur is thinking outside the box. That I agree with 150%, but I also think it's all about an approach. And not only an approach physically, an approach mentally. Because if you're chasing money, it runs. All right? If you're making money, it's different. All right? So for people that are entrepreneurs, there's no cut in the corner. There's no magic bullet. There's no cheat sheet. It's really simple, as complex as it may sound. Hard work. Work hard. Believe in yourself.
At a catastrophe or a crisis in your life in the last 12 months, you're not doing something great. You're not trying to grow. You're not trying to change things. You're literally trying to change your life, change your family's life forever. So these things come with it. Again, I want to be clear. There's all kinds of amazing experiences. And having been on this road, I can tell you the beautiful experiences and the emotions and the breakthroughs and the pride that comes with overcoming these challenging things, overcoming doubt, overcoming fear, overcoming rejection. That's the juice of life. It's where all the juice is.
Your parents taught you, if you study, how should you study? Study hard. If you work, how should you work? Work hard. You do everything hard. If you do things hard, things won't happen. It'll become a donkey's life, just doing everything hard. Nobody told you, you must study in joy. Nobody told you, you must work in love. They told you, you must do it hard.
Positive emotion that motivates people is always experienced in relationship to a goal. Now, this is a very important thing for everyone to understand, because it means that if you don't have a goal, you have no positive emotion. And it also means that the higher your goal, the more positive emotion you experience when you're moving towards it, because positive emotion signifies progress towards a goal. So you need a goal. The goal of the deepest religious traditions is the ultimate goal, by definition. So the idea is that you need a goal, and so you should pick the utmost possible.
Talent matters. I'm not going to stand here and tell you it doesn't. But talent has a broad definition. Most of the time, it's not about having a gift. It's about having grit. In tennis, a great forehand with sick racket head speed can be called a talent. But in tennis, like in life, discipline is also a talent. And so is patience. Trusting yourself is a talent. Embracing the process, loving the process is a talent. Managing your life, managing yourself, these can be talents too.
Accept that all of your heroes are full of shit. Your heroes aren't gods. They're just regular people who got good at one thing by sacrificing literally everything else. And I think, in my experience, looking at high performers, they're not ubiquitous, human-wide examples of perfect people. They're usually very competent in one narrow domain. And sometimes they've managed to hold on to the remainder. And sometimes they've had to completely burn everything else down, either as a byproduct of or upstream as the creator of their success.
Whole journey in life is like, I've always been told no, and I always took them no's and turned them to yes, you know what I'm saying? And I always believed in my path and my vision, even though I know you have to go through trials and tribulations in life, but I do know there's sunshine on the other side. You know, I do know there's a goal, there's a victory. You know what I'm saying? Winning ain't easy. Success don't come overnight. This is 25 years of blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm saying? Before I got on this show, before I made a #1 record, before Jay-Z became one of my partners. You know what I'm saying? This is like, you know, never surrender, never giving up, never stopping. You know what I'm saying? And some days it was real stormy, and I made it through.
Wondering why other people are successful is the refuge of losers.
Yes.
It's a loser mentality. It's a loser occupation. It's a loser practice, because you're wondering why other people are successful. Like, who gives a f? You can say you think it sucks, but to spend time wondering why someone is successful and hating on someone for being successful, it doesn't do any good. It's like, what is that old expression that jealousy is, it's a poison that does the opposite of its intended?
Oh, right.
It doesn't affect the other person at all, but it poisons yourself.
Yeah.
It wastes your energy and time.
Imagine this, that if you're attentive to the action of your own instincts or the divine voice, I don't think those are distinguishable, then a goal is going to emerge that catalyzes a series of transformations. This is what happens to Abraham. So He has a series of adventures after he decides that he's going to go out in the world. And every adventure is marked by the erection of a sacrificial altar and a recommitment of his upward aim. Now, there's two reasons for that. One is that he reminds himself that he's aiming upward and he's on an adventure. And the second is he admits to himself that with every transformation of character, something has to be sacrificed.
The other thing is to set goals. Motivation is in many senses defined as the pull towards a goal. You get rid of a goal, you're technically not motivated to do shit. Like animals in a lab are motivated, goal-based, at least neurochemically. You could have Huberman on here, he'll tell it to you better. Is like motivation is goal-oriented, even if the goal is equalize this amount of chemical between one brain cell and another. So if you have a goal of like, I want XYZ amount of reps on my lift that's realistic, or even a motivation like I want to be able to tell myself I'm man enough to go to the gym 4 times a week every fucking day this year. That's my goal, a process goal.
You need to give up the impossible quest to pay off your productivity debt and instead start thinking about each day as an opportunity to move a small but meaningful set of items over to your done list. And you'll find that you make better choices about what to focus on. And because you'll actually make more progress on them by wasting less time and energy being distracted by the stress about all of the other stuff that you're unavoidably neglecting. So paying off this imaginary productivity debt completely, in other words, working so hard and so efficiently that you no longer feel like you're falling behind, is literally impossible.
In doubt, that means you're on the road less traveled. If you have a lot of fear or anxiety on the road you're on, or if you've experienced those emotions recently about what you're doing, you feeling like an imposter, like you have imposter syndrome, like nobody knows, I don't really know what I'm doing. You're on the road that I think you should be on, the right road, the road less traveled. If you felt anything like rejection, like lots of rejection, you get all kinds of rejection on the road. By the way, you want to go get a beautiful relationship in your life and you're on a road to that, it comes with rejection. You want to build an amazing business, it comes with rejection. You want to build an amazing body, it comes with rejection. So if you experience that, you're on the right road, you're on the road less traveled.
Effortless is a myth. I mean it. I say that as someone who has heard that word a lot. Effortless. People would say my play was effortless. Most of the time, they meant it as a compliment. But it used to frustrate me when they would say, he barely broke a sweat. Or he's even trying. The truth is, I had to work very hard to make it look easy. I spent years whining, swearing, throwing my racket before I learned to keep my cool. The wake-up call came early in my career when an opponent at the Italian Open publicly questioned my mental discipline. He said, Roger will be the favorite for the first 2 hours, then I'll be the favorite after that.
So why you see people that have unbelievably outsized results in life and those who kind of have consistently bad results in life, because each positive experience is self-reinforcing. It tells you a story about the sort of person you are, and you start to build on good habits, and these good habits show you more good habits, and you get a little bit more confidence, and you get a little bit more, and you say, well, this is part of my identity now, actually. You can push myself a little bit, so and you're like, holy, like, you know, it's the 1% per day increase, and you end up at some unbelievably big number by the end of the year. But you also see the opposite. And this is how you get, you know, very diverging outcomes from people that started at relatively similar places.
You're in a battle. All this negativity is coming at you. But if you're able to fuel yourself in the morning, win the war in the morning, so you have the strength to face what you're gonna face in the world. The world's gonna come at you with lefts and rights. You have to have the right kind of mentality. And that starts by not hitting the snooze button. It starts by waking up. No, you don't wanna do it, but that gives you the strength because you did it. If you do something you don't wanna do every morning, you're already giving yourself the proper self-talk. You're already giving yourself the proper dialogue to attack the people that don't like you, to attack your insecurities, to attack what the world's gonna give you. So self-talk comes from belief in yourself.
Everybody, so people can stop calling you weird. Why are you so antisocial? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you staying on the basketball court so much? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you out there practicing in the hot sun when ain't nobody else out there? Because I'm trying to get it. Why are you not clubbing? Like every time I text you and invite you to go do something fun and cool, you always studying. Because I'm trying to get it. Let me tell you something, homie. These women ain't going nowhere. These clubs, these parties, all this shit ain't going nowhere. The more weird you are is a reflection of how committed you are to focusing on your shit, molding and shaping and developing your ideas and your craft so that when it's time for you to make your rounds, you gonna fly.
I'm gonna win. You're not gonna control me. I'm going to defeat you and everything in front of me. You're just a wall that I have to break through, you know? And if I can't handle this, I don't deserve what I want.
Down to the experience of trusting your intuition, you know? I know what my body needs. I've been here for 10 years. I can just feel it. I pick up a weight, I feel a certain way in a day, I know what I need to do, and you just gotta trust your instincts and do it, not overthink it sometimes. The stress is okay to feel in adversity. It's where the stress leads you that you need to avoid. You need to prevent the stress from being strong enough to make you avoid adversity in the first place. If you start to feel stress about adversity, I think diving right into it is like the secret for growth.
How can you expect to have faith in yourself if you can't even keep your own word? So the problem is, we sacrifice the thing that we want, which is self-worth, for the thing which is supposed to get it, which is validation. Sacrifice self-worth to get validation in the hopes that if we have sufficient validation, we will finally be able to have some self-worth. Sacrificing the thing that you want for the thing that's supposed to get it. And yeah, this neediness.
People, one person says the word work and the other person hears the word pain. And so the first step to like becoming more successful is understanding the language that the people who are successful are using. They're actually defining the word differently. And so whatever that thing is that you actually enjoy doing, where you lose track of time when you're in it, even if it's challenging, but usually it is challenging, right? Like it's not easy because then it's boring, right? Which is also why the uncertainty thing is so key, right? To not knowing if it's gonna work or not. You are gonna work though, either way. Is that the people who are, quote, addicted to work make it easy to be addicted to work because they do things worth doing. And I think a lot of it is coming down to making sure that you take the few precious seconds that we have to do the few things that are worth doing for the rest of your life.
Problems are a feature of life, not a bug. There will never come a time when you have no problems. What? Did you think that you would just wake up one day and you're going to cease having problems? Like completing a video game and leveling up to a map where there's nothing there. That is never going to happen. Your problems will change, sure, but having problems is going nowhere. Dealing with problems is the cost of doing business as a human. It's not a personal curse on you.
He said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
You get confidence from doing something.
Yeah.
Anything. 2, you get confidence from doing it consistently. And 3, you get even more confidence if you do it and win.